Alvarez Empire arc. Let's talk about it. So as everyone knows, this current arc in Fairy Tail has been, for lack of a better word, terrible. Well, to be entirely honest, the entire arc hasn't been too bad, but somewhere along the way something happened which made the arc go downhill at a very alarming rate. And since then, apart from a few small things, the arc has not climbed back up to where it originally was. So why is this, some have asked? Well, to be fair, everyone has asked this. This arc started out perfectly well, actually. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that it had the potential to be the best arc in Fairy Tail, by any means. I mean, maybe it did, but it did at least have the potential to be a really good and exciting arc to read or eventually watch whenever the anime kicks off again. People will of course have different opinions on when things started to go downhill, and so naturally I thought I'd share my opinion on the very matter, and to me, this arc was absolutely great until that event which changed everything. Quite literally. When Eileen invoked Universe 1 is when things started to go downhill. However, it did not do this so rapidly at first, as things were pretty good to read, but there were some developments which were pretty bad to say the least. One of these many things is of course the fact that Acnologia just didn't return. I mean, everyone else were still within the kingdom of Fiore at the end of the day, yet Acnologia seemingly disappeared without a trace until Universe 1 was actually revoked again. That's when he suddenly returned, and that's my main issue with this arc, well, one of them. It's not the biggest fuck up, but it certainly was the first. So there will be some people who may or may not wonder if that's the only thing with Universe 1 that I don't like, and it is not. Oh no, it really isn't. Because the absolutely worst moment within this whole arc happened because of Universe 1 as well, and that was when Gajil returned back to life, so to speak. He had the best death moment I've ever seen in Shonen, and that's not an exaggeration. That's counting Dragon Ball, Naruto, what I've seen so far in One Piece, and a few other small series. Gajil's death should not have been touched, but Hiro did touch it, didn't he? Oh yeah, he had to make Gajil return back to life. So those are quite possibly the biggest things directly linked to Universe 1 that I don't like. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of tiny things that I can't think of right now, but those are the big ones, the ones that bug me the most, if you will. However, the arc has more shitty moments that has nothing to do with Universe 1 really, and two of these problems I will address at once because I'm pretty sure we all hate them. Well, three actually, now that I think about it. The first one being Larcade's loss to Sting, and even though we has as of recent found out that Larcade wasn't actually Zerf's biological child, that does not change the fact that he lost to Sting. I'm not saying Larcade should have wiped Sting out in one blow or anything, but to have Sting win just because of a new mode when he was clearly about to die, if that had not happened, it just doesn't sit well with me, and probably not with anyone else either. Had it been the case that Sting had a upper hand throughout the entire fight, or that they were perfectly equal, then the power-up would have made sense, but it was more of a Sting being at 20% and Larcade being at 80%, and that power-up that Sting received made them literally change positions. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into what happened because I'll assume you already know. I mean, you should if you're watching a video about an arc that's only in the manga so far. So the next moment that truly enrages me is the fight that involves one of the most hyped Spriggans that there are, and that's of course Eileen's loss to Urza and Wendy. Why is this terrible? Well, where do I even begin? I mean, it's true that some elements of this fight made sense, but there are one particular moment that broke the entire fight. The first 80% of this fight was excellent to me. I mean, not the best fight in Fairy Tail by any means, but still pretty good. But when Eileen, as a dragon, broke nearly every bone in Ursa's body and Ursa was still able to slice a meteor apart with just one arm functional, that's when things got real fucking bad. Just for the record though, I don't dislike Eileen, I dislike Ursa. Eileen's suicide is something I can accept because her past did allow for something like that to happen, but Ursa should not be able to destroy that meteor. And then of course Wendy empowering Ursa's sword to kill Eileen in her dragon form was a bit much to me, even though she didn't kill Eileen of course. I mean, Natsu and the other dragon slayers weren't able to maim a single dragon during the GMG arc. Natsu managed to bring down Mother Glare thanks to Atlas Flame, and that was literally it. And then Ursa receives a small enchant to her sword and it wipes out Eileen's dragon form, who's supposedly the mother of all dragon slayers. No, that does not fucking work. Okay, with that said, let's move on to the last terrible thing in this arc so far, and this is of course very recent, like last week kinda recent. August's identity as well as his death. Now his identity is not as bad, but the fact that it came so suddenly that he was the actual child of Zareth and then dies because he lays his eyes on Mavis, who's looking right back at him. I mean, I get that he didn't want to kill his mother, but that doesn't really work for me because, like I told someone, just because he had memories of her from his birth, that doesn't mean he should feel for her, because that's like looking at pictures of someone you've never met. They may be his memories, but he hasn't had any experiences with Mavis, so why would he feel for her? Okay, there we go. That's like all the badness of this arc, or rather the worst of it. I did leave some things out like Ursa stopping Grey and Natsu, Makarov's pointless death and things like that, but these moments that I listed in this video are the biggest problems with this arc for me personally. In fact, if only these problems weren't a thing, this arc would have been good actually. Because I mean, Fairy Tail is a friendship series, if you will, so Ursa stopping Grey and Natsu wouldn't be the worst that's ever happened. But yeah, I think I'll wrap up the video here now that I've made this negative topic, but it had to be done at some point, so there you go. Just for the record, I don't dislike the series, nor will I drop it because of this arc. I'm better than that. Besides, if the ending of this series is good enough, I'll excuse this arc, I'm not even kidding. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. What are your worst moments in this arc? Or rather, what made this arc bad? And as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new to my channel. See you soon.